Listen, I don't care if you think investment fees are just small numbers that don't matter. I care about one thing. Whether you'll discover at 70 that you're missing $200,000 or $300,000, because these fees have been eating your retirement savings alive year after year. And right now, if you're over 50 and you have money in retirement accounts, hidden fees are silently draining your wealth every single day. You won't see them on your statements. You won't get bills for them. But they're there, compounding against you, stealing your future. Let me paint you a picture of what I see constantly. Someone retires at 65 with $600,000 saved. Sounds pretty good, right? They did everything they were supposed to do. They contributed to their 401k. They hired a financial advisor. They invested in mutual funds. But what they don't realize is that over the past 20 years, they paid maybe $250,000 in various fees. If those fees had been lower, their $600,000 could have been $850,000 or more. That extra $250,000 represents years of comfortable retirement they'll never have, trips they won't take, medical care they'll struggle to afford, independence they'll lose, all stolen by hidden fees. Today, I'm going to expose 5 major hidden fees that are draining retirement savings right now. These fees are destroying wealth in real time, every single day, and the fund companies, banks, and financial advisors who profit from them will never voluntarily tell you about them, because these fees are how they get rich while you get poor. If you're over 50, you have retirement savings, and you don't want to be robbed by hidden fees, smash that subscribe button right now. This channel exists to expose the money black holes that are making you silently poor. Let me establish my credentials here. Over 40 years, I've seen every way that fees destroy wealth. I've personally witnessed people who thought they had solid retirement accounts discover at 60 or 65 that hidden fees consumed 30 to 50% of what they should have accumulated. These weren't stupid people. These weren't people who ignored their finances. These were responsible savers who simply didn't understand that the financial industry was designed to extract maximum fees from them while providing minimal value. What I'm about to tell you is going to make Wall Street, fund companies, and many financial advisors absolutely hate me, because I'm going to reveal exactly how they're making money from you, how much they're taking, and how you can stop them. This information threatens their business model. They profit from your ignorance. They count on you not understanding expense ratios, asset management fees, and all the other ways they skim from your accounts. Here's the fundamental truth about investment fees that people over 50 need to understand. When you're young and your account balance is small, fees don't hurt as much. A 1% fee on $10,000 is only $100 per year. You barely notice it. But when you're 55 with $500,000 saved, that same 1% fee is $5,000 per year. And when you're 65 with $1 million, it's $10,000 per year. The fees grow as your wealth grows. And because you're approaching retirement, you don't have decades to make up for the lost compound growth those fees stole from you. Let me give you some statistics that should terrify you. Research consistently shows that a 1% annual fee can reduce your retirement savings by 30 to 50% over 30 years compared to a low-cost alternative. Think about that. Half of your life savings gone to fees. If you had $1 million with low fees, you might only have $500,000 to $700,000 with high fees. That's $250,000 to $300,000 transferred from your pocket to Wall Street's pocket. For nothing. The financial industry deliberately hides these fees. They use complex terminology. They bury fee disclosures in hundreds of pages of prospectuses that nobody reads. They quote fees in basis points instead of dollars so they sound smaller. They separate fees into different categories so you can't see the total. All of this is intentional. They know that if you understood how much you're really paying, you'd move your money immediately. And here's what makes me furious. Most financial advisors and institutions charge fees as a percentage of assets regardless of whether you're making money or losing money. Market crashes and you lose 30%? They still collect their 1% fee. Your $1 million drops to $700,000? They still take $7,000 that year. They have zero risk. You have all the risk. They get paid whether you end up comfortable or broke. Now let me walk you through these 5 massive hidden fees that are destroying retirement wealth right now. For each fee, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, how it's disguised, what the real cost is, and why it's particularly deadly for people over 50. The first and most widespread hidden fee is high expense ratios in 401k and IRA mutual funds. This is probably the single biggest wealth destroyer in the retirement system, and most people have absolutely no idea it's happening. Here's how this fee hides in plain sight. You look at your 401k or IRA statement. You see your account balance and maybe your returns. Everything looks fine. What you don't see clearly is that every single mutual fund or ETF you own is charging an annual expense ratio. This ratio is automatically deducted from the fund's returns before you ever see them. You never get a bill. You never write a check. The money just silently disappears from your potential returns. The expense ratio covers the fund's operating expenses, including management fees, administrative costs, and marketing. It's expressed as a percentage of assets. So if you have $100,000 in a fund with a 1% expense ratio, you're paying $1,000 that year. But here's the insidious part. You'll never see that $1,000 leave your account. It's just absorbed by the fund. Your returns are quoted net of fees, so you don't even realize how much you're paying. Let me show you how catastrophic this becomes. Many actively managed mutual funds in 401k plans charge expense ratios of 1 to 2% annually. Meanwhile, index funds tracking the same markets charge 0.05 to 0.2%. Let's say you have $400,000 in your retirement account at age 55. You keep it in funds averaging 1.5% expenses versus moving it to funds averaging 0.1% expenses. Over 10 years to age 65, assuming 7% gross returns, the high-fee funds leave you with about $700,000. The low-fee funds leave you with about $800,000. The 1.4% expense difference costs you $100,000 over just 10 years. And it's actually worse than that because of opportunity cost. That money being taken in fees isn't just gone. It's money that could have been compounding for you. When you account for lost compound growth, the true cost could be $150,000 or more. For people over 50, this fee is particularly deadly because you're in the final accumulation phase before retirement. These should be your peak earning and saving years when compound growth really accelerates. But if high expense ratios are eating 1 to 2% annually during these critical years, you're being robbed of exactly the growth you need most. You'll retire with potentially hundreds of thousands less than you should have, and you'll never get it back. The second major hidden fee is asset under management fees charged by financial advisors. This one drives me crazy because most people think they're getting tremendous value when they're actually being fleeced. Here's how advisors sell this fee. They tell you that professional management is worth it. They say 1% is a small price to pay for expert guidance. They promise they'll grow your money and make you more than the fee costs. And 1% sounds so small, so reasonable. But let's look at what 1% really means. If you have $500,000 and your advisor charges 1% AUM fee, that's $5,000 per year. Every year. Forever. As long as your money is with them. If you stay with that advisor from age 55 to 85, that's 30 years. At $500,000, that's $150,000 in total fees, not counting growth. But your account will hopefully grow. By the time you're 70, you might have $800,000. Now the 1% fee is $8,000 per year. By 80, maybe you have $1 million. That's $10,000 per year. Over a 30-year retirement, you could easily pay $300,000 to $400,000 in advisor fees. And here's the kicker. Many advisors don't actually do anything special with your money. They put you in a simple portfolio of index funds, maybe rebalance once a year, and collect their 1%. You could have done the exact same thing yourself with a target date fund or a 3-fund portfolio for 0.1% in fees. But instead, you're paying 1%, which is 10 times higher, for essentially nothing. But wait, it gets worse. That 1% isn't the only fee you're paying. You're paying the 1% advisor fee plus the expense ratios of whatever funds the advisor puts you in. So if the advisor charges 1% and puts you in funds averaging 0.5% expenses, you're really paying 1.5% total annually. On $1 million, that's $15,000 per year. That's more than many people's annual living expenses in retirement. I've seen this scenario dozens of times. Someone has worked with an advisor for 20 years. They paid them religiously every year. When they finally calculate the total fees paid, it's often $200,000 to $400,000 or more. And when they look at their returns, they're basically what a simple index fund portfolio would have delivered. They paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for nothing. For people over 50, AUM fees are particularly expensive because this is when your account balance is highest. You've been saving for decades. Your balance has compounded. Now you're sitting on $500,000, $1 million, maybe more. And that advisor fee calculated as a percentage hits you hardest right when your balance is biggest. You're essentially being punished for successfully saving money. The more you saved, the more the advisor takes. The third hidden fee is 12b-1 fees and trading costs embedded in mutual funds and ETFs. These fees are even more hidden than expense ratios because many investors have never even heard of them. Here's what 12b-1 fees are. They're marketing and distribution fees that some mutual funds charge to pay for advertising, broker commissions, and sales materials. The fee is included in the fund's expense ratio, but it's specifically for selling the fund to new investors. So you, as an existing investor, are paying to recruit new investors. You're paying for marketing you don't benefit from. 12b-1 fees can be as high as 0.75 to 1% annually. And here's the offensive part. This money often goes to the broker or advisor who sold you the fund as an ongoing trail commission. They get paid year after year just for keeping your money in that fund. They're not providing ongoing service. They're just collecting fees for a sale they made years ago. Then there are trading costs. These aren't listed in the expense ratio. They're the costs funds incur when buying and selling securities. Every time a fund manager trades stocks or bonds, there are transaction costs, bid-ask spreads, and market impact costs. Actively managed funds that trade frequently can have hidden trading costs of 0.5 to 1% per year or more on top of stated expense ratios. Let me show you the real impact. You invest in a fund with a stated expense ratio of 1.25%. Seems somewhat reasonable maybe, but buried in that 1.25 is a 12b-1 fee of 0.75%. And the fund has hidden trading costs of 0.5%. Your real total cost is 1.75% annually. On $400,000, that's $7,000 per year. Over 20 years, that's $140,000 in fees, not counting lost compound growth. The actual cost could be $200,000 or more. And these costs spike during volatile markets. When the market is turbulent and funds are trading more to try to manage risk or chase performance, trading costs can double or triple. So exactly when you need stability and low costs during market stress, you're getting hit with maximum hidden fees. For people over 50, these hidden fees are particularly dangerous because market volatility tends to spike right around major bear markets, which often happen to coincide with when you're entering retirement. The 2008 financial crisis, the 2020 COVID crash, these events hit people in their 60s hardest. And during those crises, hidden trading costs and fees were at their peak, making bad situations worse. The fourth massive hidden fee is the layered fee structure in annuities and insurance products. This one is absolutely brutal, and it's the most deliberately opaque fee structure in the entire financial industry. Here's how insurance companies sell annuities. They pitch safety, guarantees, and lifetime income. They tell you the fees are reasonable and built into the product. They show you illustrations with projected growth. Everything looks great. What they don't clearly explain is that annuities often have 3, 4, or even 5 different layers of fees all running simultaneously. Let's break down a typical variable annuity fee structure. First, there's the mortality and expense risk charge, typically 1 to 1.5% annually. Second, there's the investment management fee for the sub-accounts you choose, another 0.5 to 1%. Third, there are administrative fees, maybe 0.15%. Fourth, if you add a guaranteed income rider or death benefit rider, that's another 0.5 to 1.5%. Add it all up and you're easily paying 2.5 to 3.5% in total annual fees. But wait, there's more. Many annuities have surrender charges if you try to get your money out early. These can be 7 to 10% of your account value and last for 7 to 10 years. So you put $300,000 into an annuity. 2 years later, you realize it's a bad deal and want out. You'll pay a 7% surrender charge, $21,000, just to access your own money. Let me show you the destruction. You put $400,000 into a variable annuity at age 55, paying 3% in total annual fees. You leave it for 10 years. Even if the underlying investments earn 7% gross, you're only netting 4% after fees. You end up with about $590,000. If you had put that same $400,000 into low-cost index funds at 0.1% fees, you'd have about $780,000. The annuity fees cost you $190,000 over 10 years. Almost $200,000 gone to insurance company profits. And remember those guarantees they sold you on? The income riders and death benefits? Those guarantees are worthless if the fees eat all your growth. You paid for protection you didn't need while destroying your wealth accumulation. For people over 50, annuities are particularly dangerous because this is exactly when they're most aggressively marketed to you. Insurance agents know you're scared of market volatility. You're approaching retirement. You want safety. So they sell you expensive annuities disguised as conservative investments. You lock up hundreds of thousands of dollars in high-fee products right when you should be minimizing costs and maximizing flexibility. The fifth hidden fee, and this one is insidious because it seems so small, is account maintenance fees, custodial fees, and miscellaneous administrative charges. These are the death by 1,000 cuts fees that add up to thousands of dollars per year without you noticing. Here's how these work. Your 401k might charge a quarterly record-keeping fee, maybe $25 to $50 per quarter. Your IRA custodian might charge an annual maintenance fee, $40 to $75. If you have multiple old 401k's at different employers, each one is charging fees. If you have several IRA accounts at different brokers, each is charging something. You might have a fee for paper statements, a fee for phone support, a fee for certain types of trades, a fee for holding certain securities. Individually, each fee seems trivial. $50 here, $30 there. Who cares about such small amounts? But when you have 3 or 4 retirement accounts, and each is charging 6 or 8 different small fees, suddenly you're paying $500 to $1,000 per year in junk fees. Over 20 years, that's $10,000 to $20,000. And that's before accounting for lost compound growth. But the real damage from multiple accounts isn't just the fees, it's the missed opportunities for optimization and the additional costs triggered by poor account management. When you have money scattered across 4 different 401k's from old employers and 2 different IRAs, you can't easily rebalance. You might be paying duplicate fees for similar investments across accounts. You're not getting volume discounts that some brokers offer for larger account balances. And if you do a rollover incorrectly from one of those old accounts, you could trigger massive taxes and penalties. Let me give you a real scenario. Someone has $200,000 scattered across an old 401k, 2 IRAs, and a current 401k. The old 401k charges high expense ratios and a quarterly admin fee. One IRA charges an annual fee. The other has a fee for each mutual fund held. The current 401k is fine, but because everything is scattered, they can't consolidate into the lowest cost options. Between direct fees and higher expense ratios, they're paying maybe $2,000 to $3,000 extra per year compared to a consolidated low-cost approach. Over 15 years to retirement, that's $30,000 to $45,000 wasted. For people over 50, multiple accounts and administrative fees are particularly costly because by this age, you've probably accumulated several retirement accounts over your career. You have old 401k's from 3 or 4 different employers. Maybe you opened an IRA or 2 along the way. All of these accounts are sitting there charging fees, many of which you don't even know about because you're not actively managing them. The costs are silently draining your wealth across multiple accounts, and the complexity prevents you from optimizing. So what should you actually do? How do you stop these 5 hidden fees from destroying your retirement? Let me give you a clear action plan that will save you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. First, immediately review all your investment expense ratios and switch to low-cost index funds. Log into every retirement account you have. Look up the expense ratio of every fund you own. Anything over 0.5% should be questioned. Anything over 1% should be eliminated immediately. Move everything to broad market index funds from Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab with expense ratios under 0.1%. This one action could save you $50,000 to $100,000 or more over your remaining working years and retirement. Second, consolidate all your old retirement accounts to eliminate redundant fees. Roll over old 401(k)s into a single low-cost IRA. Combine multiple IRAs if you have them. The fewer accounts you have, the fewer maintenance fees you pay, and the easier it is to manage and optimize your investments. A single consolidated IRA at Vanguard or Fidelity will have 0 account fees and access to the lowest cost funds. Third, if you're paying an advisor a 1% AM fee, seriously evaluate whether you're getting 1% worth of value. If they're just putting you in index funds and doing basic rebalancing, you're being ripped off. Consider switching to a robo-advisor that charges 0.25% or managing your own simple 3-fund portfolio. Going from 1% advisor fees to 0.25% robo or 0% self-managed could save you thousands to tens of thousands annually. Fourth, avoid high-fee annuities and complex insurance products entirely. If someone is pitching you a variable annuity or indexed annuity or any product with multiple fee layers, just say no. Stick with simple, low-cost investments. If you want guarantees, use treasury bonds or CDs. If you want growth, use index funds. Don't pay 3% annual fees for guarantees you don't need. Fifth, demand fee transparency from everyone you work with. Ask your advisor what your total all-in fee is, including their advisory fee plus all underlying investment fees. Ask your 401(k) plan administrator for a total fee disclosure. Read your IRA statements and identify every fee being charged. Once you know the real numbers, you can make informed decisions about whether the fees are justified. The key principle is this: every 0.5% you save in fees translates to tens of thousands of dollars in additional retirement wealth. Fees are the one thing you can control. You can't control market returns. You can't predict which stocks will perform best. But you can absolutely control how much you pay in fees. And minimizing fees is the single most reliable way to increase your retirement security. These 5 hidden fees are destroying retirement wealth in real time right now. High expense ratios in retirement account funds. Asset under management fees charged by advisors. 12b-1 fees and trading costs in mutual funds. Layered fees in annuities and insurance products. Account maintenance and administrative fees across multiple accounts. Every single one of these fees is avoidable or at least minimizable. But collectively, they're stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from people who have no idea it's happening. And the tragedy is that the people being hurt most are those who can least afford it. Hardworking savers in their 50s and 60s who did everything right. They contributed faithfully to retirement accounts for decades. They hired professionals. They trusted the system. And the system is robbing them blind through hidden fees that compound against them year after year. Your 70-year-old self is watching you right now. That person is desperately hoping you'll wake up to these hidden fees and stop the bleeding. Don't let Wall Street's greed destroy your life's work. If this video opened your eyes to fee reality, take action immediately. Smash that like button to help more people see these fee truths. Share this with every friend, family member, and coworker over 50 who has retirement savings. They need to understand what's being stolen from them. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell because I'm going to keep exposing financial industry secrets and fee traps that they don't want you to know about. Leave a comment and tell me, do you know how much you're paying in total fees every year? Which of these hidden fees shocked you most? Let's help each other fight back against fee extraction. Your money should be working for you, not for Wall Street. Start checking your fees today. Log into your accounts. Add up the expense ratios. Calculate what you're really paying. Then make changes. Your future depends on it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.